Good afternoon everyone and welcome to today's webinar on local search marketing. My name is Helen Hutchings from the Phillips Group and I'm your host for this webinar. In a moment I will hand you over to today's presenter, Jake Falkender. At the end of the webinar I will hold a questions and answers session with Jake and we look forward to receiving your questions. This webinar is part of a series being provided by the Department of Tourism, Major Events, Small Business and the Commonwealth Games. We hope that you find it informative and useful for your business. Jake, over to you.
Good afternoon everyone and welcome to today's webinar all about local search marketing. Let's now take a look at the agenda for today's webinar. The first 5 minutes will be spent doing an introduction and orientation. Followed by that we'll have approximately 45 minutes whereby we will review the key elements in the workbooks. After that, we have allocated the remainder of the time for questions. If you would like to ask a question, I'd like you to have a quick look at the control panel for GoToWebinar. You will notice there that there is a section for questions, and we will be taking these throughout the webinar. Helen will be collating these questions and will present them to me at the end of the webinar. It's important to note that anyone who is using a tablet or iPad, due to restrictions or constraints with GoToWebinar, unfortunately you won't be able to use the question facility in this instance. For those of you who like to tweet, please feel free to interact with us using the hashtag QLDBIZ. Okay, now a quick introduction about myself. My name is Jake Falkender and I'm an online marketing consultant working with the Phillips Group. I've got corporate experience across a number of varied organisations and a few of those include Virgin Australia, based here in Brisbane, Ray White Real Estate, that energy drink we all know as Red Bull, as well as Nike, just to name a few. My search marketing specific experience also ranges across a wide variety of corporate and small businesses, and these involve industries such as building and property developments, home renovation and kitchen renovation services, fashion labels, and other various online retailers. So let's hop into local search marketing and have a look at the definition. Local search marketing is all about promoting your product or service to people who are interested in utilising it from a specific geographic area. So from a small business perspective, what this means for you is it is applicable to any business who has a fixed address or a local following. Now let's just take a look at a typical local search query. It will generally include information about what the site visitor is searching for example, a business category or service or even a product name, and it will also take into account where the person is interested in finding this product or service. And this will usually be in the form of a street address, a city name, a postcode, or even geographic coordinates. So you'll notice on this particular screen there are a few examples towards the bottom there. So let's just take a quick look at a couple of those. If you follow my mouse pointer, you'll see the first one is Building Company Longreach. So Building Company is actually the service in this instance, and obviously Longreach is the physical address. Looking at the one below that, we've actually mixed things up a little bit, and we've got the geographic location first, which in this instance is James Street, and the service being a hairdresser. So local search marketing queries can actually take a variety of different forms. Over here you'll notice we've got osteopath, which is again the service, and 4220, which in this instance is actually a postcode. And I believe that's the postcode for Burleigh Heads. So that's an osteopath being sought out in Burleigh Heads. And finally we've got an example here for restaurants in Gladstone. So this follows a bit more of the natural flow of the English language, with restaurants as the service or the product and Gladstone being the physical location. So those are just a few ideas of local search marketing queries that may come around. Now while we're on this slide, I've actually highlighted a bar at the bottom, and this is the progress indicator for today's webinar. So that you can keep track of where we are throughout the webinar, you'll actually notice this on every single page. So please feel free to refer to this at any stage. Moving along, let's have a look at some stats from 2012 to see just why local search marketing is so important for your small business. First of all, 1 in 5 Google web searches in Australia are now actually local, which is quite phenomenal to think about. If someone is using a mobile device, this actually becomes even more prevalent, with 1 in 3 searches actually being a local search. So what we're seeing is an increasing trend in people searching for local search-specific key phrases. The second point there is that the mobile penetration of smartphones is increasing and expected to be over 70% by the end of 2012. So this is the most recent statistic we can get our hands on about the penetration of smartphones, and we're seeing 70% of Australians actually holding them at this point in time. The third point is also a very interesting one, with 86% of these smartphone users having searched for local info. Fourth, when you look at mentioning a location in an ad or search result, you'll notice that the click-through rate can increase by up to 200%. So what we're saying there is that any advertisement online or any search result that is targeting a specific location will encourage more click-throughs, and often by up to 200%. The final point there is that 61% of local searches result in purchases. So what we're seeing is that those local search queries are actually generating more leads and more conversions because they are a lot more targeted. So I think you're probably getting a feel for why local search marketing can be so important for your business. Now let's have a look at our good friend Google. So this is a Google search engine results page, and this particular query was for the key phrase dentist, Brisbane City. So again, going back to our local search marketing rules of having a product or service first, we've got dentist, and that's followed by the geographic location, which in this instance is Brisbane City. So looking down the screen, for those of you who are familiar with Google's search engines, you'll know that up the top here are the pay-per-click results, or the Google AdWords results, which are actually paid advertisements. And these also run down the right-hand side here, which again you can see from my mouse pointer. Beneath these, however, is where you'll start to see the local search marketing results really kicking in. You'll see a number of results here. From the top, we've got Central Dental, Cooperoo Family Dental, and so on. And these are actually generated from Google Maps and Google Places, as well as GooglePlus pages, which will make more sense as I go on through this webinar. Down here, it's important to note Dr. Paul Trembath, who's actually got a GooglePlus page. GooglePlus is probably one of the best ways you can possibly utilize for optimizing your local search marketing. So if you notice here GooglePlus, and you have a look at all of the other dentists here, you'll see there isn't actually a GooglePlus review for most of those. So I'll flesh this out as we move forward. Now I'd like to run a quick poll while we're on this slide, just to get a bit of a feel for how many of you actually do search engine optimization at this point in time. So I'm just going to start that poll now, and I'll give you around 5 seconds to respond to that. So I'm seeing the statistics flowing through already. I'll just give you another 2 seconds, and that poll is now closed. So I'm just going to share with you those results. You'll see that there are 56% of you that are currently undergoing search engine optimization of some sort. There's 40% that have no search engine optimization at this point in time, and 4% of you are unsure. Now the reason I'd like to highlight this is because search engine optimization is all about the results that appear beneath these Google Places and Google Plus results. So on this particular screen, we're not even seeing any of the organic search results, which you're probably spending a lot of your time and energy on trying to optimize. So you can really start to understand now why local search marketing, particularly in the sense of Google Plus and Google Places, is so important, because it's actually sitting above your organic search results, which you're probably investing a lot of time in. So let's have a quick look at the local search marketing landscape. And I have already mentioned Google, but it is important to note that there are other platforms out there. So obviously Google is probably the most prevalent, seeing it's where a lot of people spend a lot of time searching for products and services. From a typical user's point of view, the instance that someone would use Google is when they want to find stuff such as a product or service and do a lot of research around that. If we move over to Facebook, things are a little bit different. Obviously, being a social network, people interact with Facebook in a bit of a different way. So we'd probably refer to Facebook as more of a word-of-mouth engine, and one that you can use to search through to see what your friends recommend. The third option, or the third platform where local search marketing is quite prevalent, is the location-based services. And by location-based, we're often referring to things that live on mobile devices or are accessible on mobile devices, such as apps or mobile websites. I'll go through these in a bit more detail shortly. For now, let's have a look at GooglePlus and the evolution of the Google products over the last couple of years. First of all, I'd like to run another poll. And this one is, has your business already set up a listing on Google Maps or on Google Places? So either of those options. So I'm going to launch that poll now. I'll give you just a couple more seconds to respond to that one. And the poll is now closed. So we're just going to have a look at those results, and it's a very even split between yes and no. So approximately half of you do have a Google Places or Google Maps listing, and approximately half of you don't. So I'm just going to hide those results and talk through a few changes that have happened in Google. So it's great to see that a lot of you are already actively involved in Google, in particularly Google Places. But now it's very important for me to highlight that Google Plus is now taking over from Google Places. So Google Plus is a tool that you can use to list your business. In the past, you would have used Google Places or even a product called Google Business Listings, which existed for about 12 months before being sucked into Google Plus. When you add a business to Google Plus now, what you are creating is called a Google Plus local business page. And what I'm going to do later in this webinar is actually show you how to set one up. The thing that is also happening is that in Google Plus, Google is collecting data from other sources, such as Google Places, which a lot of you already have listings on, and Google Maps, as well as other products like Yellow Pages and whatnot. So Google Plus is aggregating all of this information that has existed in previous systems and bringing it all together. Another question for you. I'm going to run another poll now. And this one is about Google Plus business pages. So I'd like to get a feel for how many of you out there have already set up a Google Plus local business page. And I'm going to launch that poll right now. So I'll just give you another couple of seconds to respond to that, and I have closed the poll. So there's 24% of you that currently have a Google Plus business page. So what I'm going to run through now is actually, for those of you who haven't set up one, how to set one up, and for those of you who already have one, how to optimize that page to make sure you're utilizing it best. I'd first like to highlight the benefits of being set up in Google Plus as a local business page. You actually get 3 key benefits. One of them is that you'll appear in Google's search engine results pages, as we saw in that screenshot just a couple of slides ago. The second is that you'll also appear in Google Maps, and the third is that you will appear in Google Plus itself, Google Plus being the social media engine for Google. So let's just have a quick look at that in way of screenshots. So now again, we're looking at the Google search results page, which we did look at a couple of slides ago, but this time we've used the key phrase cafe. Now Google knows that I'm logged in and that I live in southeast Queensland, so despite the fact that I've typed in a very generic phrase here, cafe, it's actually returning relevant results to me in the Brisbane area. So you'll see the first result here in the local search results is Pearl Cafe over in Wollongabba, a very nice cafe, may I add. The second cafe here is the Cliffs Cafe in Kangaroo Point, and so on and so forth. Now, it probably is no coincidence here that the top ranking result, you'll see beneath it, the Pearl Cafe, has a plus.google.com link. So this means that that Pearl Cafe has set up a Google Plus page. If you scroll down and continue looking at these results, you'll notice that most of the others don't have this particular link beneath them. And this is because this information is actually being sucked in from other legacy systems, whether they be Google Places or the Yellow Pages or something else. So you can already start to see how a Google Plus page can really benefit your business and the exposure for your business in the natural search engine results pages. Now let's flick on over to Google Maps. A few of you may use Google Maps fairly frequently. It's a good way of navigating around cities, and it's accessible when you're in Google just at the Google Maps link at the top here. So again, I've typed in cafe, and this time I've had to put in the keyword Brisbane just to get things a bit more targeted for my search results. But lo and behold, once again, what I'm seeing up here is Pearl Cafe. And we're seeing a lot of the same results, but again, Pearl Cafe is being prioritized, and we're speculating that the reason is because it does have a Google Plus page. So again, you get a lot of exposure out of having these Google Plus pages. Now let's move on over to Google Plus, and this is probably a system a few of you use, but it hasn't really quite taken off to the rate of Facebook as yet. The way to access Google Plus is often if you are logged into your email, which you'll see at the link at the top here. On the far left, there will be a plus with your name. So if you click on that, you'll get straight into Google Plus. Google Plus has a number of menu options which run down the side here. I've actually selected Google Plus Local, which is a couple of icons from the bottom, and I've keyed in the key phrase, or keyword rather, cafe, and the location Brisbane. Once again, I'm seeing the result Pearl Cafe come in first. The reason being that Pearl Cafe has that Google Plus page. So again, just recapping on what we've had a look at just now, we've had a look at Google search results, we've had a look at Google Maps results, and we've had a look at Google Plus results, and what we're seeing is that this particular cafe, which has a strong Google Plus presence, is actually ranking at the top for all of these individual Google products. So I stress the importance of having a Google Plus page because it will get you a lot of exposure. So let's have a look at how you can set up a Google Plus page. The first step is obviously to jump in to the setup page, and I've provided that on screen here. The address is plus.google.com/pages/create. So yes, that's on screen if you'd like to visit it now or note it down for future reference. And what you will see when you visit this URL is the screen pictured to the right there, which will allow you to pick a category and start setting up your Google Plus local business page. Now before I go on, it's very important to note that if you don't already have a personal profile on Google Plus, you'll actually need to set one of those up first. It's a condition of setting up a business page that you must have a personal profile. So if you don't have one of those, I've also provided a link for that on screen. Now, assuming that that's all set up, what you'll now do is click on the local business or place icon, which is marked by that red marker icon there. And what you will see is as follows. You'll see a pop-up, and it will allow you to nominate a country, which I'll assume for all of you is Australia, and also a phone number. Now, the phone number may just sound like a formality, but I'd like to stress the importance of this phone number. This actually matches any existing records within Google. So if you've actually set up in Google Places or in Google Maps or even in the Yellow Pages a business listing already, Google will be matching against that. So make sure you're using your primary phone number and your actual phone number. Don't just type something in for the sake of filling that out. So once you've filled that phone number in, what you'll see is the following. One of two scenarios. If you already have some matches within Google+, as I mentioned before, whether it's from the Yellow Pages or Google Maps or something else, what you'll see is the screen on the left. I'll just highlight that with my mouse pointer. this screen here. So I've keyed in a slightly random phone number up the top here, and these are the results that have followed. I've got a variety of matches on that phone number. So the matching one in this instance that I was interested in setting up is actually Central Dental, so I would actually click on that search result. Now, if there are no matches, what you'll see is the screenshot on the right here. So there'll be no matches located, and you'll click on Add Your Business to Google. So once you've selected whether you've got an existing match or whether you're starting out afresh, you will again see one of two screens. If you've got an existing listing and you're matching it up, now it will give you the chance to confirm your information, which I've highlighted here with the mouse pointer. So you just, obviously the phone number is pre-populated and the address is being pre-populated, but if it's incorrect, this gives you the option to modify that listing. If you're starting afresh, you will see this screen on the right that says Add Your Business, and this will give you the opportunity to include your business name and your full address. Now again, on the topic of accuracy of information, it's important to add your correct address here. Keep in mind that not only will people potentially visit this address on foot, but this will also be the location that Google may send you collateral or even verification codes from time to time. So you need to have a correct address, and ideally with a postbox, so that you can be receiving that verification information from Google. So now we move on to the next screen once you've filled out the address, and this is step 5. And this will allow you to enter things such as your external website and your visibility. Now, the external website is again quite important to fill out correctly. Obviously, you spend a lot of time setting up your website for starters, so it's important to take opportunities to point traffic towards your website wherever possible. Secondly, putting in your website here actually assists with your search engine optimization efforts, because GooglePlus will be passing on a bit of its page rank over to your website. So there's a benefit there as well. And finally, it's important to consider that your Google Plus page will probably often rank above your actual web page. So by putting in your actual web page here, you're kind of getting a double whammy in terms of your website exposure in the search engine results. So once you've keyed in your website, you'll see that there is a drop-down list below that says your content is appropriate for. And 99 times out of 100, I would recommend that you type any Google Plus user, because you really don't want to be limiting yourself to only certain levels of traffic. You could actually select for certain circles there if you wanted to limit your exposure, but as I said, 99 times out of 100, I would recommend against this. Hit continue once you've filled out that screen, and now you get to the fun part, customizing your profile. So much the same way as people like to customize their own homes or anything, customizing your profile is all about adding the colors, adding the imagery, and adding a bit of emotion to your page. You probably should not underestimate the importance of this step, because this is essentially the public perception of your business. So try and keep your imagery professional and well polished, and also your logos and whatnot, keep them at the right resolution, and I'll run through the specifications for all of those on the next screen. Now, it's also important when you're filling out all of the details on your local business page that you include keywords relevant to your business. So by keywords, if we were talking about dentists, as we mentioned before, the keywords would literally be things like dentist, dentistry, dental, and teeth. So it's important to get those kinds of words into the descriptions on the page without stuffing, which essentially means overusing the words to the point where they look suspicious. Let's have a look at the details of populating the information on your Google Plus page a bit further. So first of all, we've got the profile photo. So if you are a Facebook user, you'll be used to this. It's the photo that most often represents your Google Plus page. Its size is 250 by 250 pixels, so it's a square, and I would recommend that usually you would use a brand image such as a logo that can be seen at quite a small size for this particular section. Next, you've got the banner image, which is that large image that runs across the top of the Google Plus page there. This is more to create emotion and a bit of a description around your business. So maybe use a bit of lifestyle imagery that's associated with your business, or maybe one of your key products or key jobs that you've completed in the past, and include this as your banner image. Now the specs are written there as 940 by 180 pixels. I do know that Google Plus has actually updated its specs within the last 5 to 7 days, so that banner image may have actually changed. So please refer to the Google Plus documentation for more information about that. Thirdly, we've got the address there, which we've mentioned earlier and should be pre-populated from a previous step. Again, I just would like to stress that make sure your address is 100% accurate, because this is where that verification postcard that I mentioned earlier will be sent. Now also enter all of your other contact info, so this includes email addresses, additional phone numbers, fax numbers, even online chat facilities, because this is the point of reference that a lot of people will come across to contact you and your business. Number 5 is the category. It's important to make sure you are listed in the right category, because people may actually use Google Plus to search based on category rather than the name of your business. So if you are a cafe, don't list yourself in the bars if you're not a bar, because people will obviously not be able to find you when performing searches. Number 6 is the hours of business. If you are the type of business that opens from, say, 8 till 5, Monday to Friday, be sure to include that, because again, this will help people to understand when your business is available, and will also reduce the need for people to call you just to ask when you're open. And then we've got number 7, which is the description about your business. And this is very important because it's essentially a little opportunity for a bit of search engine optimization for your business. So be sure to include a valid description about your business, but also those keywords that we mentioned earlier, because this will really help you along and help you rank for a range of different keywords when in the search engines. So once you've completed all that and hit the OK button, what you will see is a completed Google Plus local business page. So if you refer to that example in the front there for Misfit Media, you'll see there's a profile image, which is the logo for the business. You'll see that there's that banner image at the top, which contains a series of what I would call emotive images about that particular business, which really shows what it's about. And there's a range of other information on that page. You'll also note from the orange circle that there's a couple of icons there, and I'm just going to get my mouse pointer and hover over one of them. You'll see there's a little tick there, and this means that this particular page is verified. Now if we have a look at Creekside Environmental up here, which is not quite a complete profile, you'll notice that it says unverified. And this is what I was referring to before when I mentioned the postcard. Now a postcard will be sent to your business once you've filled everything out, and it takes about two to 3 weeks generally to arrive, and it will contain a 5 or 6 digit verification number on the back. And what you'll do when you receive this is actually follow the instructions on the postcard, key that verification number into Google, and it will allow you to verify your listing. Now the reason this is important is because your Google Plus business listing won't be listed on all of those other Google products until this is done. So you may not appear in Google search results for your Google Plus page, you may not appear on Google Maps, and you may not appear on Google Plus until you verify your listing. So this is also a very important step. Now once you've set all this up, it's important not to launch it and then forget about it. Google actually recommends having an ongoing plan in order to continue your optimization for your local search marketing efforts. Now I'm just going to run another little poll here, and what I'd like to know in this instance is how many of you actually have a marketing plan for your business for the year. So I'm just going to launch that poll now. Now I'll just give you a couple more seconds to respond, and the poll is now closed. So I'm sharing those results with you now. So there's 39% of you that currently have a marketing plan for your business for the year. 57% of you don't, and there's 4% of you that are unsure. So I mean, they're interesting stats, and what I take from that is that some of you are a little bit more fluid with your marketing plans, whereas others are a little bit more rigid. In the case of GooglePlus and GooglePlus local business pages, I'd suggest that the more rigid option is probably going to be the more effective for you. The reason being is that it will allow you to plan out your content over time and make sure that you're, I guess, abiding by the rules that Google likes, and that's to have frequent updates and relevant updates to all of your Google properties. So what I recommend is creating a plan, something like the one that appears on screen there, that's mapped out by day, or even week, or even month if you want to be a bit more casual about it. But just to make sure that you are regularly updating your Google Plus page with relevant information and relevant posts. So a post might be something like a link to your own blog or a link to someone else's blog with relevant information. It might be images that you post of new products that you've got in store, or a new job that you've just completed. Or it could be just, even a quote or something like that that's going to be relevant. So the idea for this is to increase engagement and build your following for your Google Plus page, and at the same time appease that need for Google to be seeing frequent content in order for you to rank well in the local searches. So that concludes the Google Plus side of things. Now let's move on to Facebook Places. So a lot of you would be familiar with Facebook. With 1 billion users worldwide, it's a bit hard to ignore these days. It was actually launched back in 2004. It seems like such a newcomer, but it has almost been around for 10 years now. And Facebook Places actually launched in 2010, so it's definitely a newcomer to the Facebook scene. Now, as of the 30th of September 2012, there were 604 million monthly users who used the Facebook mobile product. So for those of you who carry around an iPhone or an Android and you jump onto Facebook every now and again, you're probably one of about 60 or 70% of users who like to use Facebook mobile. Now, a smaller portion of that actually use Facebook Places to check in. Facebook guard these figures quite closely, but reports at the end of 2010 said about 30 million people had tried Facebook Places. So we're looking at a much smaller proportion there, but still a very significant proportion. So obviously in comparison to something like Google, it's probably a lower priority, but it's still something very much relevant. So let's jump over and just have a look at where Facebook is heading. Interestingly enough, at the start of this year, Facebook came out and released some very interesting developments that are planned, and they're called Facebook Graph Search. And this is going to be an absolute game changer for local search marketing, because what it will allow any Facebook user to do is query the Facebook engine based on almost any parameter they please. So I've got some examples down the bottom of this slide. One example could be a search query typed in that would say people who like tennis and live nearby. So if I'm up for a game of tennis on a Saturday, I can just type that into Google. It will go and work out amongst my friends who plays tennis and who likes tennis, and it will produce results accordingly. Now obviously from a local search marketing perspective, this becomes really powerful. So if we look at the example for sushi restaurants there, which is towards the bottom of that list, sushi restaurants in Noosa, my friends have liked. So what this will do, when this key phrase is keyed into Facebook Graph Search, is it will allow me to hunt around through my friends and work out who has recommended a sushi restaurant in Noosa. So obviously this is very powerful because it relies on real word-of-mouth information. Now the advice I can give to you as a business is that Facebook is a word-of-mouth engine. So you can't force Facebook, in the same way that you can massage information on Google+, you can't really do that on Facebook at this stage. But what you can do is encourage people to check into your Google Facebook page whenever they enter your store And you can do this by setting up, certain promotions or even just a prompt by a sign on your counter. You can also encourage people, to interact with your Facebook page by posting frequent content and interacting with others through your Facebook page. So I think the important thing to note there is just to remember that graph search is coming. It's going to be very powerful, so you should have a strong Facebook presence and try and build that word of mouth on there for the time being. Now let's take a look at a couple of other local search marketing channels. The two types of channels that we're highlighting on this particular screen are social networks and location-based services. So the key examples I'd really like to point out on this screen are Foursquare, Yelp and Posse, which are represented by the icons at the top right there. Now, Foursquare has been around for a little while, and it was argued that it was going to be superseded by Facebook Places when it came out, but it hasn't actually been superseded as yet. In comparison to some of the other technologies, Foursquare seems to have built in popularity and sort of started to level out. It hasn't dropped yet, but it definitely has leveled out, so the longevity of it may be questionable for some. However, the way it works is that there is an app installed on your phone for Foursquare. And what it allows you to do is each time you visit an establishment, you check in. And it uses a term that some like to call gamification, and it's creating a bit of a game out of life essentially by awarding people points each time they visit an establishment. So the more points you get, I guess the more you succeed in the game of Foursquare itself, and you can become mayor if you have the most points for checking in. So it's an interesting little one to play with. And you'll see from the example on screen there on the chalkboard that the way you can encourage the use of Foursquare for your store, this is particularly good for things like coffee shops and places where you'd buy lunch, is to encourage a check-in each time someone visits. And once you secure, say, 8 check-ins, you'll get a free sandwich or a coffee or something like that. And so that's Foursquare. Another platform there that we've mentioned is Yelp. So Yelp is a location-aware app, so if you're carrying around an iPhone or an Android, Yelp is actually aware of your location, and it can provide you with recommendations of what's in the area based on your specific search needs. So say I open the Yelp app, I'm standing in the middle of Brisbane City and I want to know where I can grab a coffee. I open up Yelp, I press coffee, and then suddenly it will show me all of the areas that are listed on Yelp, or all of the establishments rather, that are listed on Yelp with instructions on how to get to each. So it's a great little app. It also allows social interaction so that people can write reviews on there, and it's one I'd definitely recommend getting your business listed on. The third platform there is Posse, and Posse is quite a new platform to the scene. It actually launched probably, I would hazard a guess, 3 to 4 months ago, and has been having great success already. It has a very different interface to most. It's very fun and very visual, and it's actually just released its app in the last couple of days as well. So things are moving very fast for Posse, but yeah, I encourage you to have a look at that one and also list your business on there. So if you're interested in getting started with these location-based apps, the easiest thing to do is to pick up your phone, jump into your app store and start downloading them. Now, as I mentioned before, some of them will allow you to list your business, whereas others will require you to claim your business, assuming that people have already commented on it. So say for example, someone on Yelp may already be talking about your business and have listed it proactively because they're quite a frequent customer. What you can do is then go onto Yelp and claim your business and add additional information such as your opening hours and maybe a couple of photos of your favorite products or services or whatever you have to offer. So I'd encourage you to download Facebook, Foursquare, Yelp and Posse on your phone and have a look at how you can start to set up your businesses on each of those. Now there are a couple of other local search marketing channels that are worth looking into, and these are the directories. So these are a bit more of a traditional style of local search marketing, and the way I like to relate these is to Yellow Pages. Yellow Pages these days is used a lot more online than the physical book, But you'll notice that there are a number of other directories that exist, some more generic and some more targeted to specific industries, and I've listed a few of those on here. So those include True Local, HotFrog, Yellow Pages, which I mentioned, and Aussie Web. So what you can do is go and list your businesses on those. Some of them are free and some of them are paid listings, and you'll get additional exposure from those as well. Now another thing I would recommend doing is encouraging citations and reviews. So the difference between a citation and a review is a citation is more of a one-dimensional description of your business. Usually it just lists the business and the address and maybe a couple of facts. So think of a citation as something that's similar to being listed in a directory, but it's any other site that's not a directory. Whereas a review is something that's more emotive and it describes a customer experience. So that's the difference between a citation and a review. Now the places you can seek out getting citations and reviews are obviously on GooglePlus Local. Now I mentioned how to set up your page on GooglePlus Local before, but I didn't mention that there is an ability for your customers to leave reviews. So what I would recommend once you get that presence on there is to actually start encouraging your clients to be leaving reviews. So whether it's verbally, once you've completed a transaction or a job, just to mention to them, did you know we're on Google Plus and you can leave a review about us? Or even mention it on a flyer or on a chalkboard or something like that. But yeah, start to encourage your customers to leave reviews because this will really work in your favor as Google Plus continues to kick in. Similarly, directories may also be of assistance for you for getting those citations and reviews. Some directories allow reviews, whereas others are those one-dimensional citation type directories. So do your research and work out which ones are going to work best for your business. But a couple I'd recommend looking at are True Local and HotFrog. Now there's also industry-specific directory/review sites. So a good example of one of those is TripAdvisor if you're in the tourism or even the cafe or restaurant industry. TripAdvisor is a site that a lot of people use these days to go and do research when they're visiting new countries or new areas. And what people do, particularly those who own independent hotels, is offer some sort of, you can't offer an incentive per se, but offer, I guess, the opportunity for people to leave a review on their specific establishment. Now, one particular establishment I saw do this really well said, you're welcome to use our internet. Our internet is free. The one thing we do ask for is for you to provide a TripAdvisor review. So there's tactics around that to really encourage it and also add value to your clients at the same time. And the final thing I'd recommend on this page is to have a hunt around and get ideas from your competitors. So do a Google search for Google Local and some of those other directories, and just see what your competitors are up to, and you'll get a few ideas from those. So I've got a review on screen at the moment, just as an example, and it's from urbanspoon.com, which I've highlighted with my mouse pointer right now. And this is just one of many, many sites that you can get access to reviews on. This one's for a restaurant in Maroochydore. So yes, it's quite important to be getting those reviews because not only are they testimonials for your business, but it's also dynamic content around your web properties which helps to boost up your local search rankings. So now I'm up to the summary page. On the left there I've just got some key points. So in summary, it's important to know your options when it comes to local search marketing, and I hope I've provided you with a few in this webinar today. It's also very important to have a strategy. So before you even start putting, I guess, pen to paper or mouse pointer to screen or whatever you'd like to say, make sure you map out a strategy first, because it's important to have some goalposts before you start toying with all of this technology. Once you have implemented them, make sure that you monitor your results to work out what is working for you and what's not working for you, and really start to focus on the stuff that's working for you and repeat it. And remember, there are many resources available out there to help you. So, jump onto forums, Google searches and whatnot, and you'll find there's plenty of information related to the technology that I've outlined today. Now, I've got a list here of a few key things for you to do as well. The first of those is obviously to jump onto GooglePlus and set up your free listing. I see that as a huge opportunity for businesses to jump ahead of their competitors at this point in time, simply because not everyone knows about it yet. So use that opportunity to your advantage. Secondly, encourage check-ins and sharing. So as I mentioned before, whether you use Facebook or whether you use Foursquare or any other technology, start trying to build a culture of people checking into your business or checking into your establishment when they get there, if viable for you. Thirdly, encourage reviews and citations. Again, using similar techniques, just prompt your customers to go and leave a review if they've had a good experience. Fourth is to make sure you measure and track and verify everything. So I always recommend using Google Analytics because that will help you to track the source of a lot of your traffic back to your website, but also use other platforms as well. Fifth, consider your local search marketing company policy. There will be instances where some of the advice I've provided here may not be suitable for some businesses because of existing policies, so just make sure that you're aware of any of those policies before you start going and implementing any of these techniques. And sixth is go mobile friendly, and please don't forget about mobile. As we saw from some of the stats, mobile is really taking off these days. People are starting to search on mobiles as much, or in some cases more, than they do on desktops. So keep that in mind with your local search marketing efforts. If you're after any further information, there's a number of resources available, and I've listed those on screen at the moment. So these are the Queensland Government's business and industry portals, as well as a Facebook page, Twitter page, YouTube channel, and more. So I'd now like to open up for questions, and I will now hand back over to Helen to send those over to me. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Jake. That was a really great presentation, very informative. And thank you to everybody for your questions and tweets throughout the presentation. We have had a lot of questions, and I've been grouping them, and we will try and get through all of them, or as many as we can, in the remaining time. We are finishing at 1:30. But please don't forget that there is a workshop available, a workbook available for this webinar. So if you haven't received the workbook, please let us know via the question panel, and we'll make sure that one of those workbooks gets out to you, because there's a lot more detail in the workbook obviously than we were able to cover today. Anyway, Jake, we have had a lot of questions about GooglePlus, and particularly, what do companies do if they are an online or a mobile business? So if they don't actually have a physical address that they want to display, like for example, someone working from home, doesn't necessarily want to put up their home address in GooglePlus, and likewise people who run an online business, they might just have a warehouse rather than an actual shop front. So can these businesses, these online mobile businesses, use GooglePlus? Is that going to be effective for them?
Yes, it's a very good question, Helen. I mean, in terms of GooglePlus itself, by all means, it's very much possible to set up a GooglePlus page that's not location specific. So I think there was a screenshot that I had in there of the setup page of the first step of the process for setting up GooglePlus, and you'll probably recall there was a local business option, and then there was a company or brand option, and there was a number of other options there. So there's obviously an option to suit all different setups of business there. I guess the thing to remember is that in terms of local search marketing, it's all about searches or search queries based on a service at a specific location. So if you can't promote a specific location for your business, then it makes it that bit harder to utilize things like taking advantage of Google Maps, obviously, because you can't pinpoint your business. So yeah, you probably won't get the maximum amount of benefits that you would if you don't have a physical office location, because you can't actually leverage off those search engine results that we saw above the natural search engine results, but you can still definitely set up a Google Plus page.
And then people at least, searching for that. So, for example, if you had a mobile handyman type business, at least people searching could still see that business and be aware of its offering.
Yeah, most
Okay.
definitely. And sorry, something I didn't touch on so much today is the pay-per-click advertising side of things, and also the search engine optimization side of things. So you can still use those techniques to hone in on specific locations. So if you're a mobile handyman for Aspley in Brisbane, for example, you could use pay-per-click advertising and search engine optimization to target that phrase rather than Google Plus as such. So I would probably recommend using other techniques in that instance.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jake. We've also had a couple of questions about the Google Plus postcard verification. One of the key ones we've been asked is that can you put in a PO box address for that verification postcard?
You're really testing me on the Google terms and conditions. It is my belief that you cannot use a PO box because this isn't representative of your physical business address. And I guess the whole way that Google Plus Local is set up is based around physical addresses and physical business locations. So to my knowledge, no, you can't use a PO box.
Okay, thank you. Some more general questions around Google Plus. With having to have a personal page with Google before creating a Google Plus business page, how does a business deal with that? Like, what happens if the original person who set up the Google Plus page leaves?
Yep, a very good question. It is possible to set up additional administrators for a Google Plus page, so I wouldn't see that as a huge risk. What I would recommend doing is if you are using, for example, an administrative assistant to set up that page, that you immediately get them to share the administrative rights of the page with the business owner and a few other key people, just in case they do move on. And also, obviously, if they do move on, it's important to restrict their rights as well to contribute so that they, can't do any damage to your page in the future. But yeah, there's a number of administrative options within the setup that allow for additional administrators of your page.
Mm-hmm. We've also had a question that someone's asked that they said they haven't finished their website, they've just bought the domain. Would you recommend they set up the Google Plus page first or set up the web page first if they're going to prioritise which one to focus on?
Again, that's a very interesting question. It really depends on the service. You'll notice that some industries are very highly competitive in terms of the web space and SEO space. So it may be more beneficial for you to set up a Google Plus page first because you know that the results are going to be quite immediate. Now, having said that, you may not appear in the Google Plus results for at least 3 weeks, considering there's a verification process and whatnot. So I would probably recommend at least setting up a holding page, so a landing page or a one-page website on the domain that's been purchased at the least, and setting up Google Plus. But ideally, set up both in parallel.
Mm-hmm. Just moving off Google Plus for the moment, and looking at Foursquare and Facebook and the other platforms that you spoke about. Again, we do have a number of people who work from home or run home-based businesses and don't have a walk-in shop. So is Facebook Places relevant for them?
I'm struggling to think of instances where Facebook Place check-ins would be relevant for those guys because, again, it is very location-specific. And I'm sure there would be cases where it would be relevant, but I'd say for the most part, no. Having said that, you can still obviously use the Facebook brand and company functionality. You probably just wouldn't be focusing so much on the location-specific side of things. So you can still build engagement and whatnot around your brand. But yes, I would say in more cases than less, you probably wouldn't be using Facebook Places in those scenarios.
Yeah, so they could still have a Facebook page for their business and drive the engagement through the page,
Yes.
but the actual Places functionality is not really relevant if you don't have a physical location.
No, I mean Facebook Places is generally used for people who visit a location and would like to announce to their friends that they are there, and it's almost, from a user's point of view, it's almost a gloating thing to go and check in using Facebook Places. So if that kind of behaviour from a user's point of view isn't really going to benefit your business, then yeah, there's probably no reason to try and set it up.
Mm-hmm. And with Foursquare, Yelp and Posse, are they relevant for purely online retail businesses? So can people use those to sort of check into businesses that are purely online?
That is a good question. Collectively, not all of them will suit the need. Foursquare, for one, is definitely a location-based thing. So again, with the same mentality that I described for Facebook Places, that applies to Foursquare. Posse is probably, it's more of a focus on bricks and mortar at this stage, but I would suggest keeping an eye on it because it does seem to be evolving quite quickly, and it is, because it is such a fun user experience, I expect that to take off to a point of more saturation in the future. And then in terms of Yelp, I would have to go and check the fine print in Yelp because I'm not 100% across the setup rules, but I would imagine you would probably need a physical address for that as well. But that might be the one of the three that you could potentially look at if you don't have a fixed address.
Yep. And we've had someone's tweeted a question, and I'm going to apply it here, Jake, and ask you to put on get out your crystal ball. Will Google Plus ever become as popular as Twitter or Facebook?
Oh, that is the golden question, isn't it? I mean, in terms of the number of users on Google Plus, it's arguable that the number of users on Google Plus is comparable to Facebook already because it is leveraging off Gmail as the point of setup. So for those of you that have set up a Gmail account, you're 7/8 of the way to setting up a Google Plus account already. So for that reason, it's arguable that the stats could be comparable now or in the near future. But I mean, in terms of the usage of Google Plus at the moment, it's really only used prevalently in the online marketing world, and that's why I see it as such a bigger opportunity at the moment because Google's really trying to push it. So they're appealing to that online marketing world, which means there's so many opportunities to be ranking well in Google at the moment. So I mean, it's really hard to say if it will take over Facebook because I sort of see them as different platforms, and I think Google will really start to go off into that local business direction, whereas Facebook will continue to be social, social, social. But rather than compare them on numbers alone, I think we should start to compare them on their benefits, and I think that's where they'll really start to split apart. I'd probably say Facebook Places might become a bit less, and Google Local will start to fill that void.
Okay, thank you. And just with Google Plus again and this postcard verification, I think it's causing some issues for people. Like for example, somebody doesn't get postal delivery at their business address as it's in the country, and can they get the postcard sent to a PO box? And somebody else lives in a new residential community that Google Maps hasn't updated yet, so therefore the location of the business isn't actually on the map. Is there a way, can these people contact Google to resolve these issues? Is there a way of resolving these in terms of this verification?
Yeah, I mean there's always a way to contact Google. I wouldn't say that for small businesses it's always going to be the most prompt response, but there is always a way to contact Google. What I would suggest is if you are in one of those scenarios, just jumping into Google Plus and looking through a few of the help files because they are updated frequently, and I guess because this is quite a new space for Google, they are going through a few of these teething problems and speaking to businesses like the ones that are listening now. So in order to get the most prompt and up-to-date information, I'd probably encourage you to jump onto the Google help files for that. But yeah, at this point in time, from my understanding, PO boxes aren't really an option. So Google has been quite adamant in saying if there is a physical post box on a property, that's where the postcard will be dropped at this stage.
And we've had a couple of questions in regard to, encouraging reviews, or, getting, if you've got, for example, your restaurant on an urban spoon and your customers provide a review. Are you able to, moderate those reviews before they're posted? Like, can you make sure that you're happy with the review and make sure it's appropriate before it's uploaded, or do you really have no control over that?
For the most part, from my understanding, there isn't really an opportunity to delete a negative review. I would see it as an opportunity for your business to improve themselves once you see the review. But yeah, I mean, the basis of all of these sites is to provide a rounded view of your business. So if you were to delete reviews as such, then it wouldn't be a rounded view. Some of them do allow a response and others do not. So again, if you are concerned about that and you are able to set up or not set up your business on a specific site, then go through the paces and think about whether it's going to benefit or hinder your business and take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm sorry everybody, we've hit our 1:30 mark, and I've tried to get through as many questions as possible, but I can see it's been a very popular topic, lots of tweets, lots of questions, and look, we really do appreciate your participation in this. So we're going to be sending out an evaluation survey shortly, and we very much appreciate your feedback on today's webinar. We do hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you found it useful for your business. And so thank you again for attending, and we hope you have a lovely afternoon. Thank you. Bye now.